Welcome back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Ray Guo. We will continue our conversation with Mr. Matthew Lien, who is a well-known music composer, producer, and also performer here in Taiwan. Matthew, we got a sense of how you got into music since you were very little, and certainly over the years you've continued to develop your passion, especially your interest in terms of how music connects with people, connects with the environment. So you're very well known for your EcoMusic.
Right.
In Taiwan. Yeah. And EcoMusic, of course, is something that you interact with people, with the environment. And how did you draw your inspiration, into your composition, into your performance, as you develop your passion for EcoMusic?
Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it has been that actually Taiwan, they created this phrase, 环保音乐家, environmental protection musician.
Yes.
There's no easy way to say that in English, but in Zhongwen, in
of course.
Mandarin, it rolls off quite nicely.
Yes.
And this phrase, which equates to eco-musician, was created to sort of create a category for my music, because there really wasn't anything happening like this.
It was very difficult to categorize you.
Not only there was nature music, but actually using music as a means of involving activism to try to have some impact on environmental protection and environmental issues.
Especially have impact with a lot of people with their concept about environmental protection.
Sure, and even areas in particular. The name Bleeding Wolves for the CD was in response to a government policy in the Yukon Territory of killing wolves to promote the hunting industry.
Oh, okay.
And this policy I was strongly against. I protested it before it was enacted. When it was enacted, my emotional response was to create the song, which is the title track from the album Bleeding Wolves. And that album and the concert tour, which came after, helped to bring national pressure from across Canada. People were writing letters back to the Yukon government saying that this was not okay.
This was right. It wasn't right.
Right. It's not right to do this, and they were protesting the policy. And it helped to bring an end to this wolf kill program. Which was the first time that I really recognized how music,
how powerful it can be.
Right, can really change the world, to use a common phrase.
Yes.
And all I was really doing was converting my emotion into music. And using the music then as a way to convey my own feelings about something with other people. The environmental movement, for instance, is filled with intellectual information. And that's important, very important.
A lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers, statistics, and data about what's happening and why. And the problem is that I think people are sort of overwhelmed with information. And this can... your message can get lost in the pool of information if you try to use that approach alone. But I found in the Yukon, working with environmental groups, that when you combine music with that intellectual information and you inspire people, if you can capture their heart, then give them the information through the back door, and that creates a different kind of response.
I believe the acceptance rate will be even higher in terms of people paying attention to the issues, to the consciousness that you try to raise.
The acceptance rate, I think, is higher, as is the quality of the response from the people, because they're not only responding about an opinion that they have. They are emotionally involved now. They have a feeling about what this issue is. And when you catch, people say the love is blind, and that's a good thing. Because if we can cause someone to love some animals or some place, then they will just absolutely believe that this place must be make a commitment. Is right. That's right.
Exactly. So I mean, over the years, since coming first to Taiwan back in 1997, and then over the years that you are now married to a wonderful Taiwanese woman, and this is your home now, Taiwan, and therefore in your continued composition of music, what kind of roles or functions does Taiwan play in your continued development of EcoMusic?
Well, Taiwan has caused me to shape more of a unique view of the planet. Because I believe Taiwan is facing very important issues.
Okay.
Taiwan
is
it's a small space.
Yes.
We know Taiwan is it's a small island.
Yeah.
And being an island, it's a little bit special from other countries. Your jurisdiction, your region, your resources are clearly defined by the ocean around you. Even though it includes the oceans, part of the oceans. But your resources are clearly defined. This is your space.
Yes.
And when you begin to run out of space, you can see that coming a little more easily than you can in larger countries, especially countries that have land borders to other countries.
Of course.
And so we are facing some very important issues here in Taiwan with respect to wildlife, endangered species, loss of natural habitat, consumption of natural resources, pollution, energy conservation, cultural preservation. Taiwan is endlessly fascinating as not only an incredibly diverse ecological area, but culturally. The cultural diversity in Taiwan, the density of cultural diversity must be greater than most places in the world. There are so many Aboriginal cultures, and each Aboriginal culture has its own specific area, and each village is unique in the way that
for
they
different features.
And you know, the Hakka cultures are also unique from the north to the south and different places in between. And Taiwanese culture, and then the mainland influence and foreign culture going back hundreds of years until recently. Taiwan is endlessly fascinating for these reasons. However, it is an island, and we must be very cautious now about how we proceed to, especially in response to this desire to let economic interests reign. This notion that the economy is king. This is false and dangerous. And I believe we have to be very careful about what we value and what we feel is for sale. The planet is the same. The planet is an island with the same kind of issues facing the planet. And so Taiwan in this respect has caused me to view the planet as an island facing the same limited resources, cultural, how would you say, competition in a way, as well as the value systems that we need to question whether the economy is dominant and whether we should consider other life forms as having an equal right to exist as humanity.
And in your continued development of this, EcoMusic, have you put this, the issues that you just raised about Taiwan's, position in the world, on the planet, how is it going to be, making that choice between economic growth and the protection of the environment? Have you been consistently putting that thing into the development of your music?
Sure. I often put these messages into music. In the past, I've been rather courteous about it, because in the past,
a little more subtle.
A little more subtle. My position in Taiwan in the past has been a guest in the house.
Of course.
And so if I have a strong position, let's say about the logging of the cypress trees of Chilan Mountain, my approach to that would not be to oppose logging, but would rather be to propose protection, to support the preservation of the environment rather than to be in opposition against
of a certain act.
But things are a little different now.
Your native son.
Almost. My son is a native son.
Exactly.
And that means that marrying a Taiwanese wife was the first thing that really brought me closer to being not a guest in this house any longer, but being the father of a Taiwanese son. This means I have a vested interest in Taiwan as the home, the future home for my son, and all the life that exists in Taiwan that has a right to live here together with my son. He has a right to know the Formosan black bear is wild and doing well in the mountains, just as we should know today.
He needs to know that the bear will still be there when he grows up.
Right. He should live in a Taiwan which is, I believe, which is even more beautiful than the Taiwan we know today. That is what I hope for and dream for. So now my musical approach in Taiwan is probably going to take some turns as a result of my change of position.
And any significant projects that you're working on in terms of that, making that change in your music?
Definitely. Well, there's one project which is about to come out in just 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And this is actually the refinement of music which I produced for Taiwan's PTS.
Okay.
Which is a documentary about Orchid Island.
Okay.
And once again, we're talking about an island with a very small island.
Yes.
With a unique Aboriginal culture and limited culture, natural resources. And so I will use this album once again as using this theme, this notion that an island symbolizes more than just a place.
Okay.
It is a concept which relates to all of us.
Okay.
And after that, there's another album coming out, which would come out probably in the fall.
Okay.
This will be my next major project. And this album will contain a lot of these ideas that Taiwan has helped to shape about my perspective of the world.
Okay.
And how all of us have a right to a healthy, happy life. Not only people and all cultures, but all the animals, all the species of plants, all the life that has grown along with us for millions of years.
That's right. And a lot of the viewers at home watching our program will know you from earlier, your music, your composition.
Right.
And also in the future, they're going to continue to know about your passion for the protection of the environment. And the kinds of projects that you're working on will, in the future, combining the two, your two loves in your life, the love for music and the love for the environment, combining them together.
Right.
And what kind of message would you like to present through your future works to people who love your music already and also in the process now getting to know about your other passion, your other love, which is the environment?
What I would like to do is to present the planet to people in a way that almost as if you had never heard of this place called Earth before.
Okay.
Because in our everyday life, we get so caught up in day-to-day things. I mean, when was the last time that anyone has stopped and looked up at the sky and looked at the sun and thought to themselves, wow, what is that up there shining on me? This massive fireball in space, which I, on this planet, am rotating around.
Of course.
It is incredible. The sun is a constant example, as is the moon, of this phenomenon called nature that we are so lucky to live within. And I want to present planet Earth to people with two sides.
All right.
One side is to remind and re-inspire people of the amazing wonders of this world
that we have.
And the other is to present the tragedy, the sorrow, the concerns, and the loss that we're currently experiencing.
The kind of negative impacts has already happened.
Yeah, and to be quite harsh about it. Really present the two sides in all their glory. So that we can see the world.
Honesty.
In brutal honesty. So we can see the world and remember that it is our choice.
And also responsibility.
Responsibility about what kind of world do we want to live in, and what kind of world do we want our children
to live in,
and the children of all these animals and plants that live here along with us. This is something that we are always forgetting, is that all the life has a right to exist.
Exactly.
We too often discuss even climate change, all environmental issues from the human point of view. We have to remember that animals, all the life, they're like children that live alongside us. They need our support.
Yes. I think viewers at home probably shared this with me in the sense of listening to Matthew about talking about his music, talking about his passion for the environment. You certainly get motivated. You certainly get inspired that you want to do a part in the continued preservation of the environment. We're going to take a short break on our program. We'll be back shortly and we'll continue this conversation with Mr. Matthew Lien. I'll see you a little bit.